Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the individual guests or creators and do not necessarily represent the views of their employers, business partners, affiliates, or advertisers. Any opinions, advice, or statements made on this podcast are not intended to be taken as fact or professional advice. Please consult a qualified professional before making any decisions based on the content of this podcast.
Hi everybody, welcome to Untapped Azania. My name is Maureen, even the queen, even the princess, or Pindura, the answer, whichever one you prefer. Welcome to another episode of Untapped Azania. I do not chill alone. I chill with the one and only
Mash Day.
How you doing, Mash D?
I'm fresh and I'm fresher. My fresh just gets fresher.
What's the mood? What's the temperature?
You know, the
We're
diamonds in
done.
production are glowing greater than the pressure.
I love that. Welcome to another
Yeah.
episode once again. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, let us know what you've been tapped into so we can tap into that as well. If you're returning, what have you been doing? Also like, subscribe, hit us up on our socials. We want to know what you've been tapped into. Without wasting any time, my dog, what have you been tapped into?
Bro, like, SONA happened.
Oh yeah, that's so nice.
Valentine's happened.
Yes.
Chiefs are out of the African Europa League. But I have nothing to say, bro.
Why?
I don't know. Like, I'm just like, I've just been feeling like,
It's all good.
not it's even all good. Like,
It's whatever.
I don't think it's whatever. Like,
What is
I'm
this?
engaged. Like, I noticed that we have a stable coin now. I don't know if
Okay.
you saw that. And a bunch of banks are also like experimenting with creating their own stable coins. But like, yeah, there's a stable coin. It's not, I don't think it's functional yet. Like investment houses aren't using it and stuff. But it's like, I think it's called ZARU, stable coin. Yeah, it's interesting. Those are the kinds of things that entice me, but I have nothing to say, bro. Like, so now I saw what it is, but it's like I have nothing to say. Valentine's, same old. I have nothing to say.
Are you losing your whimsy, Mash? Do you feel like you're losing your whimsy?
No, I just feel like I need to shut up for a bit, bro. I think so.
You have nothing to say.
I have nothing
But
to
I
say.
feel like I've been in the same trip. Like
Yeah.
I have nothing to say. Like
Yeah.
the world is worlding and I'm living in it.
Yeah,
But
I'm not passively like engaging. Like, I'm thinking, like, thoughts are like my brain is functioning, and like there's the practicality of like waking up and like the reality of life and like getting as much done as possible, but I have nothing to say, bro.
Do you think you need time to hibernate and to just
I think that's
go
where I'm
under?
actually at.
Oh,
100%.
okay.
110%.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. I think I'm also in a similar spot in that, like, I feel like I think I've said a lot and I've released, like, I feel like there was a point where I had so much to release into the world and to say and to release, like, out of my body, out of my chest and all of that. But now I have nothing to release. And it's not, to your point, it's also not like nothing is happening or I don't have an opinion about things that are happening around me. I just feel like I don't know if I want to share those opinions. You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Like, I'm at a point where I think maybe some of my strong opinions are changing. Maybe like, so there's a lot of volatility that's going on internally, and I think that I want to be of value, bro. When I like say something, I want it to be of value. So I don't want to, like, I'm hoping, and it's like I'm thinking a lot about what I've already said, and I'm like, is it even valuable enough? Is it like at the level that I wanted to be at, or do I, is there some self-work that needs to happen and stuff, I'm thinking about that a lot. And like, also just, I think I can do better. you know, but like I think I need to shut up. Yeah. Yeah, you know, like, and then I can be like, it's a cycle, bro. Like I will be of value, dog. I will always be of value. But yeah.
Nah,
You've been laughing at me today,
I'm not.
dog.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the situation, and because I relate with it so much, and that's why it's funny to me. I think.
Yeah, bro. It's like I'm an adult, bro. You know, like.
But I think the thing about evaluating yourself is there's always going to be room for improvement. You're always going to think, I can do better. I can articulate myself better. I can say certain things better. I can spend a little bit more time on research. I can structure my thoughts in a better way, in such that when I do say them out loud, they sound the way I want them to sound. And even after you have done that work, you'll probably return to the thing and still think, oh my God, I actually can still do better. I can do better than what I've already done. But I think valid in the sense that there's a cycle for everything. Whatever it is that you've put out before was enough for the version of you that existed at that point, and it has value for the version that existed then because it needed to release, but also for the people that need it. Whoever it needs to find, it will find the people, and it will be of value to those people, right? But if the cycle is forcing you or pushing you to a point where you have to hibernate and you have to reevaluate yourself and think about things in a different way, that's also allowed. But it does not necessarily remove value from what you've put out into the world. Because I think saying that, like, I don't think I have... Yes, you can say you don't have anything of value right now to say. It might not necessarily be true, but you cannot say necessarily that what you've put out before didn't have value.
Yeah, but I don't mean it like it didn't have value. What I mean it like, you remember when we're having that conversation about like content being like assembly line, like just formulaic. Sorry, and I think that's my concern. I think my concern is just certain things being formulaic, and because it's also like you want everything, or at least for what we are trying to create, we want it to be something that is as timeless as can be. You know, you don't want it to be like. So I think that's sort of the thinking around like the value, where it's like you don't want to get lost in the sauce of just something. You just need to put something out, so you're forced to say something. And it's like so that's I don't think there's nothing you can say or do that is like valueless, but I just mean sometimes I think less is more.
I agree.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like it's a period of abundance, and just like a lot should just be
put out.
Yeah, but sometimes like less is more.
Yeah, and I think just like how we thought about this initially as well, it was very much like, I think this was like in the first episode where we were like, we'll drop whenever we want to drop, and I feel like at the same time we went onto this really high of creating, of putting things out, and the idea of dropping whenever we needed to drop kind of fell off, because we got into a really good streak of consistency.
I think that goes back to like us and just the individual, like the individual wanting to not disappoint self, so there needs to be like a system. It needs to work. It needs to there needs to be consistency. That's great. But every sort of system has its flaws, and it's like, it's so difficult to assess the bugs in a platform, in an app that seems to work perfectly, I don't think the system or how things are done doesn't work. I think it works because it sort of speaks to like us and like how um serious we are in how we but it's like there was a self that was like, yo, we need to be a bit laid back, but it's like that self was completely rejected because it's like, no man, this is real life. Like there's the corporate type, like there's real life, there's right now, there's there's we need to make this thing work, and it's like, and then with that, that's where the whole formulaic thing comes, where it's like things just start happening and happening and happening, and then you realize, whoa, like we're
been
here
happening.
now. Yeah,
It's been happening.
we're
yeah.
here now.
I feel that. I think. Yeah, I think the I don't want to disappoint. I don't want to disappoint myself, but I also don't want to disappoint Mesh. Kind of clicks in because like, I know Mesh is gonna be there when we have to record. And you probably think Maureen's gonna be there when we need to record, so I'm there as well. Yeah. And it's like, and it's, I don't think it's necessarily that like, it's a fear of not being able to say, ish, no, I don't think I can make it. It's just like, I don't want to disappoint the next person because I know the next person might have prepared or they have something to say. And I've kind of put myself here. So this is going to happen whether or not type of vibe, which I think is,
and I like it. Like, it's also like, we really like this, like we like this, bro. Like, like we really like this. Yeah.
Nah, yeah. I also think I've been thinking the same, but also I've been thinking just from a perspective of giving things back to God in a way. Like when you receive something and you do what you can do with it, right? And you put up the systems and you let it run and you refine where you need to refine and you put in the hours, whatever it is that thing requires of you, at least what you know is required of you. Because there could be other things that you're just not aware of, but at least the things that you know and you are capable of doing, you're doing. And you get to a point where you're like, okay, like this thing has been running, right? I feel like that's a point where you kind of then have to return it to God and be like, yo, God, you gave me this talent or you gave me this gold. I've refined it. I have multiplied it, or I have put the systems in place for it to become this thing. I sort of don't know what else to do with this thing.
Like, help me figure out what the next phase is. Looks like.
Instead of putting it on your shoulders. Because I think that pressure of putting it on your shoulders is what makes the system crack. And it's what breaks the system. Because then you're going to try and find issues where there literally is no issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a story in the Bible about a lady who used to see Elisha all the time, and she used to take care of him. She would call him up for she'll give him food and she'll give him a place to stay. And she had been seeing him like a lot of times, just doing the same, coming through around, and she'd do the same thing. And one day, like she was just rich, right? She was just like, you know what? Spoke to her husband. She's like, I've seen this prophet pass by here all the time. Seems like a true prophet. I think we should create a room for him in the house so that when he passes by, he stays in the house and we can feed him, whatever. So they do that. Elisha comes through and he sits he gets the room. It has everything he needs there. So he asks the lady, he's like, yo, like, you have been so good to me. What can I do for you? Like, what do you need? This lady didn't think of anything. Like, she couldn't think of anything. Like I said, she was rich, right? But Elisha had, I could say, a servant. I don't know if that's the correct term that the person is referred to in the Bible, but it's somebody that he was working with who was like, yo, this person does not have a child, right? This is that person telling Elisha. So Elisha is like, oh, okay, by this time next year, you're going to be holding a son. And this lady is like, yo, don't play with me, bro. Like, like I've never said I needed anything. Like, don't play with me like that, right? So anyway, fast forward, time comes, she has the son, right? And one day when the son was out in the field with the father, he drops and he passes away, right? She's called, they tell her, yo, dude, son gone. And she's like, bro, like, she doesn't say anything at the time. It's like,
Yeah.
so she takes the son, puts him in the horse, she drives to Elisha, or rides to Elisha. She gets to Elisha, she's like, yo, dude, first of all, didn't ask you for nothing. I didn't ask you for a son. You prayed and this son is here. Now he's been here and now he's dead. Like I never said I wanted this. Why put me through all of this? Because I never said I wanted it. Right? And Elisha sends, no, I might be wrong because I think she left the son. I think she left the son where he was. I don't know. I'm confused with the details. But anyway, Elisha sends instructions for certain things to be done. Those things are done, the son doesn't wake up, right? Okay, so he goes himself and he fixes the thing, the son wakes up, right? And obviously, everybody is happy, praises the Lord, hallelujah. Now, what I learned about that story is literally just that. It's like when God has given you things that you have never sat there and been like, oh, God, give me this talent. I want to be this talent. Oh, I want to have a zeal for this thing. Oh, it's just something that came naturally to you. And you've done everything to take care, to nurture, to preserve that thing. When that thing passes away or dies or is not working because of some headache that came from somewhere that you don't know of, your assignment is to bring that thing back to God that gave it to you in the first place. Because if you don't do that, you're going to sit there and think, oh, but what was he doing in the field? Maybe I shouldn't have taken him to the field. Maybe he shouldn't have been working with the dead. Maybe somebody gave him poison to eat and he's now dead. Maybe, and none of those things are probably true. The thing is, God is just using whatever it is to show how great he is. And he's using you to be the instrument of that. But if you do not take that thing back to where you found it and say, yo, this is where it's at. I've done what I needed to do. Work with it or tell me what to do. You're going to end up just messing things that are not even messed up as yet. So the danger in kind of forcing something to continuously happen or to be in this process of the formula and to keep on producing stuff that you aren't even, you're going to end up trying to pick, oh, maybe we're recording at the wrong time. Maybe we're recording at the wrong place. Maybe I'm recording with the wrong person. Maybe you know what I mean? And none of those things could be the issue. The issue is just literally that God is trying to do something else with that situation.
Yeah, it's like, you're right. It's like ego death, because I think we sometimes lose touch with the fact that, like, we're just a vessel. So I think over time, when you do something so much that it's like you start subconsciously acting or feeling like, hey, this is me. And I think that's the thing. I think you detach from like what God is trying to like have you do with that thing, because now it's become about you and not about like what God is trying to make it about. I 100% agree. I was thinking of something just now. If you had to, I don't want to use death, but if you had to write an autobiography now about yourself, like, what would be the title that would encapsulate, like, I don't know if you would write it from the perspective of like your entire life, from your earliest memory, or you would just want to like write it about a specific period in your life. Or...
Yo, that's a really good question. I don't know. I think it would be too cheesy. Like, I'm thinking of a title, but I think it will just be too cheesy. Because honestly, I think it would just be something like, I don't know, present, here, or now. Like something that speaks to going through whatever it is I needed to go through at the time. And it's not to say it was bad or good. It's not to say I was going through, like, my life was great, or my life was amazing, or my life was bad. I went through so many challenges or whatever. It's just to say I went through life present to what it was giving me, alive to what it was giving me, and tried to make the best out of whatever that was. Because I can think of moments that were great, right? That were amazing. But in those moments as well, I can also think of things that were not so great, that were happening at the same time. I can think of moments where I was like, this is terrible, this is bad, take me out of here. Like, why am I here? This is terrible. But at the same time, at the backdrop of that, there was amazing things that were happening, or those things were a prelude to like an amazing thing happening in my life. So I can't sit there and be like, oh, like, my life has been terrible, or my life has been great. It has been all of those things at the same time. And I've just been present to witness it and to live through it. And to be alive to whatever that was at the time, you know. I am trying to get away from thinking of life and thinking of things as a form of destination, or I need to be, I'm almost 30, like, oh, when I'm 30, this is what my life is supposed to be, or this is what I imagined my life to be. Because when I was 18, I imagined a version of myself in varsity. I imagined a version of myself in varsity while I was working to be a version of whatever myself. And I think there's parts of doing that have robbed me of experiencing fully what the situation was and doing exactly what I wanted to do. And I'm not saying thinking thinking about the future and planning for the future is not good. Like, you need to do that. I'm always saying this, like, we need to be clear of what we want to do and what is going to take us and how much is going to take from us. But I think there is a need for me to be still in the phase that I'm in, to enjoy whatever this is. I'm not 30 yet. You know what I mean? I'm going to be 30, yes, but I'm not 30 yet.
Yeah, so don't fall into this trap of perpetually living in like this future that
that honestly does not exist yet. It very well will probably exist, but what does the version of me now, what is this version experiencing? And what is this version doing about whatever they're experiencing? What are they trying to get from this situation? You know what I mean? Like, how do I want to be right now at this very moment? I think the other day I was thinking about how, like, I probably said this before on the pod, that I had at some point had the fear of being seen, and I didn't want to be seen anymore. I was just like, oh, why am I seen? I don't want to be seen. And I was thinking, I'm like, oh my God, like, I've lived for this many years, right? And all this time I've been on this pull and push and pull situation of either I'm being seen or not being seen. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, it does not matter. It honestly does not matter whether or not somebody sees or does not see me, right?
Yeah.
It matters how I feel about
what you want. If you're in a moment in time where being seen makes sense, then you are perceived. If you don't want to be perceived, then don't be perceived. But it shouldn't it shouldn't come from an external coordinate. You know, it should be like it should be prompted by you.
Yeah. And exactly this idea of curating, because I think when you start thinking about like, if I want to be seen, like how do I want to be seen? And it's a thing you have to curate this model of what people speak about this a lot, like your image, you're this, you're that, use this platform for this, use this platform for that. It ultimately at the end of the day does not matter. And the thing about where we are moving to is that the people that create whatever they want to create, those are the people that will actually have lives that are interesting and live and beautiful, because we are in a process of being altered to fit a certain box, a certain standard, to go according to a certain line. And if we all fall according to that line, nobody is different. Nobody's doing the weird thing. Nobody is challenging the status quo. Nobody is moving the bar forward or moving it back if it needs to be moved back. No one is going to do anything. We are going to be stuck in this box, and our grandkids are going to be stuck in this box. And it's I'm speaking to myself right now, like it's my responsibility to be like, hang on, like I want to freely think about situations.
So crazy you say that. I was having a conversation with someone recently, and they're working on a very interesting like AI startup, and black, and I mean like quite old, different generation, you know. And he was saying, bro, like we have trauma. You know, like, and we need to acknowledge that we have trauma, like in terms of like as a collective, you know, working on something like an AI startup in South Africa, first generation, you have no point of reference in terms of like, yo, I have a cousin who's working on something like this, or my great granddad was in business, or you know, like you don't have that spark, right? And on top of that, you need to navigate a world that like predominantly has someone you've been told to like fear, you know. You like we've been trained to like internally, in as much as like we've assimilated with the white world, it's like we have that trauma of like, man, are you going to steal my idea? Are you going to colonize me? Like, you know, it's like it sucks, but it's like it's a real thing. Like you're gonna think of, like, we have that trauma, you know. So beyond that, like there's that layer. Beyond that, it's like you're gonna have to think about it from like your own context. Like, am I able to say things that translate in a way that is understandable to my parents? No. You know, like they cannot get me. Like they don't understand like the world I'm seeing. They don't understand like the free. It's like if this generation is complaining about the youth of 75 and saying, bro, like you guys are the ones in power right now. Like we expect you to listen because you can relate. But it's like there's something that just happens to like people where there's just a wave of just like conformity over time where they just it's like the world has thrown them with so much that like they just have to like, and then now it translates to you where they're like, yo, like no, like dumb it down, you know, dumb it down because like the like yo, like you know where you come from, you know. So he's like we need to just go, bro. Like we need to just like go. Think about it. Like if you need to think about life in the context of the now, like I am a designer and I need to make this shirt. Like just make that shirt, bro. Like don't think too hard about like yo, I like the world could say like I made a pathetic looking shirt.
But you see, and that's the thing. You don't even have to be considering yourself as a designer. You could be sitting here today and thinking, I actually have a design in my head of a shirt that I want to make.
Yeah.
Make the shirt, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you don't have to think yourself as an artist, as an entrepreneur, as whatever
Exactly.
to do the thing you want to do.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying about like the line situation.
Yeah.
It's like you can see it in the way the world is being programmed. You need to be we're all trying to, it's almost like, if I want to be perceived and if I am out there, I'm trying to be an influencer. No, I'm not. Like, no, I'm not. I am sharing my life. But the point of me sharing my life does not need to be the fact that I want to be an influencer. I'm just sharing my life because I want to share my life. And it's okay for you to share my life, for your life, for the sole reason of sharing your life. Same thing with like designing a shirt because you want to wear it and you think it would look cool. Design the shirt to wear it and to look cool. You don't have to consider yourself a designer. You don't have to consider yourself an artist or anything along those lines. Just do the thing.
Yeah.
Because it's the thing about, oh man, somebody was talking about, I think it's Vince Staples. He was talking about how like, he was talking about a South African writer or neurologist that he spoke to when he was in South Africa or something, and he was saying that the person gave him like 4 things of how to self-actualize per se, and he said that basically the gist of what he was saying is that you were given a talent, and that talent can translate into the purpose that you're supposed to serve, right? And it could also translate into a skill, or you could refine you could be good at writing just because you have the talent to speak to people, or God has given you the purpose to speak to people, but you've learned the skill to write or to rap or to sing because you're communicating with people and that's your purpose. But God did not necessarily create a rapper. God did not necessarily create somebody that fits into whatever category of the skill that you have learned to do. He has just given you the purpose and the talent for something. However you use that talent, it can be translated into so many different things, right? So that's when people, when he's, and we were saying that now because he's moving into Substack and he's writing his thoughts down, people are like, no, don't write. You're a rapper. Like, why are you writing? But he's like, no, that's a skill
I'm a
I've
wordsmith.
learned. Yes, that's a skill I've learned. Like, I've learned to be a rapper because my purpose is to communicate with people and to be able to articulate things in a way that people get. But it does not necessarily mean I'm that thing that has been created. And it has made, I've always thought of this, and shame, sorry to accountants, but I've always thought about this, that like, God did not create an accountant. Like, God did not in his might sit there and say, you are going to be an accountant. He gave you a specific talent. He gave you a specific purpose. And you just choose to translate it into the skill that you have learned. But
it's all just trauma.
And
it's all just trauma, Maureen. Like, I'm going to allow you to like continue, right?
But how you to finish?
Yeah, I'll allow you to finish. But like, he made the example. He said he's looking for a man who was from the Eastern Cape. Because I was like, yo, there's actually a similar story back home in Venda. And he's like, no, I'm looking for like one that's like generations ago from the Eastern Cape who built a helicopter and then flew it, and then it got seized, and then he was basically told, he was a black man, and he was basically told he was barred from using tools. You know, he was like they banned him from using, like, from holding the kinds of things that would allow him to build those kinds. So he was basically saying that we have that, we
engraved in us.
We have that engraved in us. Like, we are told, like, you want to take the tool, but it's like, no, you know. Like, I was with my cousin yesterday, and I was like, okay, today as well, but like, I was talking to him about like, bro, you are so, like, we're laughing at him because he was struggling to use his MacBook, right? And I was like, so he's like, no, this thing has to be programmed. And has to be, there needs to be a setting that you need to set. And I'm like, no, bro, I have the exact same laptop. Like this comes embedded, right? But I was just like, bro, you are such a, like you're such a handy man. Like there's a world that wants you to hold. Because like, hey, bro, I use my laptop like a phone. You know, these things that you guys know, I don't know, right? But it's like, I was like, bro, like you are not. Like I am so proud of you for actually even like getting to matric, bro. Like wow, kid, like you are not like built for this. Like I can tell. Like it just hit me, you know. So I think that's why I'm saying like he basically ended up with like this theory that it's always, he's like, how was your relationship? He's like, he started trying to figure out like what grandparents I actually got to experience. So I was like, from my maternal side, my granddad died the year I was born. So I have a picture with him, but it's like I don't have like any recollection. I just hear stories about him, right? And then I have my grandmother who like literally died like 3-4 years ago. So it's like I know her all my life. And then from like my dad's side, it's like I know both of them as well, right? Like my grandmother died when I was like grade 5, but it's like I know her. So he's like, how was your relationship with all of them? Like especially the one that you're most closest to, and that's my maternal grandmother. And I was like, yo, dude, like I remember visiting, I think I've told the story, like visiting Toyando when I was young, right? And like kids would laugh at how I used to speak Chivenda. And I told my grandmother about it. Oh, she noticed it. I can't remember. But like she actually made an effort to like teach me Venda. Bro, like from the core, you know, like from the vowel sounds to like how to say the right words, like the words I shouldn't be using, things like that, right? And I did fairly well, you know. In Chivenda. So it was like he was saying that like they are the generation. He's like, if you think about the kinds of things you want to achieve right now or in the future, if you think about them or your grandmother and you think about perhaps your mother, who would you think would be more willing to say like who's got a bigger yardstick in terms of how far you can go, you know? And I was like, the older generation, because and he's like, yeah, but like, truth is, she was like your mother at a certain point, probably when your mom was, but like she realized in her old age that like, yo, there's just so much. You know, like you can, like I limited myself from some. So he's like, bro, everything that I do, all the trauma I think about my late grandmother, because, bro, like she made me feel like the world is my oyster, you know. So yeah, I think it's important to like acknowledge those things, because there's a lot of things that go unsaid, and because they go unsaid, it doesn't mean they don't manifest in our like lived reality. So I think we need to confront them so that like we're better at like how we navigate like all these different spaces. So yeah.
I like that you say that, because there is an element, it like what you're describing is an element we tend to forget in times when we describe the things we want to be or the things we've been able to do. Because there's this back to the whole thing of thinking that like this is your might and will and your abilities, like you created this. It's like when you, so say I go through my schooling system, the whole schooling system, and I'm like an A student, like I've never failed, I've never, you know, struggled with anything ever in my life, right? And I get a varsity and I choose a career, I'm, you know, whatever, go into the workplace and I'm good at it, right? There is very little, maybe there is a lot of time, but there's very little space in that process of you going through that space to think of the things you're afraid to do because of just the limitations that are engraved in you. You know what I'm like you are set to think about the next step of what you want to do, and the things you don't think about, you just don't think about.
Yeah.
Like
they're like the unknown unknowns.
Yes, basically, you just don't think about the thing that does not, it's not there, right? And so now, like when you think about it, if when you get to a point where you start thinking about it, it's very important to embrace the thinking about it. It's important to evaluate without fearing it, without fearing the unknown that you did not know, like embracing it for what it is and understanding the limitations that you had at the time to make the choices that you did, but also understanding the freedom that you have right now to make the different choices that you can make, because I think sometimes we tend to be scared of what will I find out if I venture into this thing that's unknown. Like, what if I become the thing I despise currently? You know what I mean? Like,
I received some of the, like, probably the best advice I've received in like probably the last year or two, like this festive, and it was around like what you were talking about earlier about getting into your 30s and stuff. Like, I always approached my life very intentionally in terms of like how I want my career to fare. Like, I wasn't too worried about having things figured out in my 20s, right? But I was cognizant of how uncomfortable that would make a lot of people around me feel. Maybe I underestimated that, but I mean, like, I did know, but it's like I did not want to become an early specialist. Like, I knew that very early in my life, right? It's like I always envied people that were like so stern on what they wanted very early on, because I was like, yo, like, I wasn't confused. I wasn't confused, but I was like, yo, the world has so much and the world is shifting and moving so far. So I was like, let me like figure life out, and then 30s is when like I can start thinking about like really doubling down on something, right, and running with it. Because I think money is a means to an end, but like I think it's important that I have a lot of it, because it's like I want to experience things that like need a lot of money, so I think that's where it's like there's the practicality with it, where it's like, okay, there's like life in there, like you can just explore, but then there's life in there, like there's real life and like making money and like choosing amongst all these different things you can do, like double down on something that like you can probably monetize
and get as much from
but I think with all of that, I've gotten to a point where now I feel like I'm going to approach it so much better, because someone who I guess is like approaching 40 was like, yo, like don't think, because I was basically explaining my life how I'm explaining, and she's like, bro, you're really like going all over the place, and like you're too worried and you're too anxious. I can tell that like you're worried about like if you're really gonna make, and she's like, dude, like you're like, bro, like you have so much life ahead of you, and she started sharing some of her experiences and like some of the opportunities that are right in front of her at this point. Like, yo, like I can go do this abroad if I want to. I don't want to move abroad. Like, it's like there's so much sternness and like a level of certainty in terms of where like she wants to. So I'm like looking at it like, okay, this is a place I can be at, and this is someone that's acknowledging that, yo, like when I was at the place where you were at, like I was also just like still like very explorative. Like I wasn't like completely stern. I wasn't certain on where I wanted to take this life thing, right? So I think it's important to also like look at life like that, not like only in that context, because we all like approach life differently. You could be someone that became an early specialist, but it's like you've gotten to a point where you're like, man, this is boring. Like, bro, like I think you could it's that corny, like, yo, I'm afraid to go study psychology because, bro, I'm going to be 35 in 3 years' time, right? And it's like, but you're going to be 35 in 3 years' time anyway, so go
Just
do
that
the degree, So I think part of it is that it's like if you're even in a position where you feel like, yo, I need to revamp a bit, or I need to like do a major revamp, or I need like, I want to like contrast this with another conversation I had with someone that's like, very similar age to the other person that gave me like very good advice, where she was like, yo, I like the kind of moves you're making with your career. And I'm like, bro, you're like looking at whatever I'm doing from like a bird's eye view. Like, I'm a mess right now. I don't know where I'm taking it, né? And she's like, like, just go at life, bro. Like, there's just so much to get from life, you know? So yeah, man, I think we need to allow ourselves to like be practical about life, but also listen to ourselves, bro. Like, what exactly do you want out of this life thing? Because like we only have one of it, you know. You don't want to look back at life and you like, yeah, I could have done that, I could have done that, I could have done that. It's like, just do it.
Just do the thing you want to do. Just be present in the right now.
Yeah.
And the rest will figure itself out, because you don't know if you're going to be 30. Like, you don't know if you're going to get to 30, you know? And as cliche as that sounds, like, tomorrow you don't know if you're going to wake up. And people say this all the time, but hug the people you want to hug. Tell the people you love them if you want to tell them you love them. The consequence of you doing that is a different thing. But do the thing you want to do, right? And please take this with precaution, because if you want to kill somebody, that's not exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, if you have a desire to show up in a certain way for yourself that doesn't harm anybody, that doesn't put anybody's life in danger, that serves you, do that. Because a lot of the times when we do those things, we don't only serve ourselves, we serve the communities around us. In fact, a lot of the times when we tap into the purpose that we're supposed to be, of the things that are our purpose, or the things that are our talents that come naturally to us, very seldom do those things lead us to only serving ourselves. They actually serve the community.
Yeah.
There's a post that Yasin Bey put out, and it's like a quote where he was saying that if a monkey hoarded bananas and didn't want to give any of those bananas away, scientists will investigate that and be like, what's wrong with this monkey? Like, why is he trying to hold on to all of these bananas and hoarding them? But if a person does that, when we hoard on those millions and money and physical things that have value in the physical realm, we are praised for that. Like, look at this person, they're a billionaire. Like, look at this person, they've accumulated so much. There is something wrong with that. Like, there's something wrong with you hoarding so much things to yourself when everybody around you does not have enough. The same thing as there's something not absolutely right with you hiding your talents and basking under the thing, like putting it so that, in fact, you're doing the world an injustice, because the world could be such a better place if you just did the thing that is in your heart to do, and not caring of whether it lands or does not land. Just do the thing. Because in actual fact, when you're 30, I was telling my nephew, this, like, I was telling him that he's in grade 11, and I was telling him that, like, he should do the things he wants to do, like work hard on his schoolwork, and get out of there. Because like 5 years down the line, the people he speaks to every day now at school, he might not even speak to. He will probably even forget that they exist, because he's going to go into this world and it's going to open up, and he's going to go into, and all of his friends are going to go into all of these different things that he has no control over. And it's not going to matter. You're going to sit back and think, damn, I could have done this, but I didn't, because I thought whoever was watching me. Same thing as an adult. You're not going to do something because you're going to think 10 million people are watching you. Turns out when you're 60, nobody was actually watching you.
Bro, like, if you actually... another thing I wanted to say with the second person that was like, go at the world. She basically brought up how... She's like, look at your aunts and your uncles and your stuff. Like, go on a run and just start figuring out what else they've done in their career, like how you perceive them, like the uncle that's a lawyer or the aunt that's a nurse or whatever. Go ask them, like, yo, what other job have you worked? And they'll tell you about a time where they worked for 10 years at a lodge in Eastern Cape, you know, like, and it shows you how dynamic life is. And it's like, you shouldn't just be this one person. If you're multifaceted, allow yourself to be multifaceted, right? If you just want to double down on a single thing, like, go at it, whatever. But because you don't have much time, it's gonna be a quick ask, right? What is your next, like, dream travel destination, and why?
I want to go to South Korea. Why? Because
like the capital, Seoul, or like anywhere?
Seoul or neighboring villages. Because I just want to spend like time in a city or in a place where I don't have to worry about my safety and see what I can actually be.
That's dope. Okay.
Where would you wanna go?
I think Georgia, Tbilisi.
Oh, okay.
Because I just want a culture shock. I want a culture shock. Like, I want to wake up with a lot of where I'm just seeing a lot of white people every day, bro. Just for a bit, maybe a week or two. So peace out for the pizza.
Peace out for the pizza house.